Wind Hughes, and thank you for tuning in to the Feminine Shaman channel. Today I would like to answer a question from a viewer named Jeremy from New York City. So thanks for the question, Jeremy, which is, what do people mean when they talk about being your authentic self? And I think that that's a really good question, because in all of my years as a spiritual teacher and over 35 years as a psychotherapist, I think that's one of the most uh, challenging questions and challenges we all face in our lives, because we come in as this pure, amazing being. And you know what it's like when you see a small child, and that small child is just pure and unencumbered by roles and ideas and values and judgments. You know, that child is pure joy, living from just the pure essence of being. They are being their actual genuine self. When they're happy, they smile. When they're not happy, they frown and cry. And they don't have that internal judgment and critic minimizing and compromising who they are. So our authentic self basically is that being we here and genuinely are meant to be. It's what we feel. It's the vibration that we resonate at. It's who we are when we are in alignment with spirit, our soul's purpose, and just basically the core being we are meant to be. And so much of the time we don't live from that authenticity. We live from who we imagine we are supposed to be, whether that's living for our parents' desires and expectations, or our spouse's expectations, or the expectations of an employer, our culture, our country. Every layer of reality has an expectation that we could internalize if we choose to. And so we often are living for the approval of someone else, for the acceptance of someone else, for who we imagine we are supposed to be rather than who we are. And I've struggled with this in my life, and I reached a point where I just basically said, screw this. I am born embodied in this incarnation, into this body. I am Wind Hughes, and I am here to actualize who I am and forget being who others want me to be or expect me to be, because then I'm not living genuinely in my own skin, in my own being, to actualize what I am here to actualize. And there's a cost to that sometimes, because often the world wants us to be who they imagine we are, who they expect us to be, who they want us to be, whether it's a friend or a family member or a client or a job. You know, people do often have expectations of us and desires, because in their own fear, they want to be affirmed for who they are. They want us to be there for them. Sometimes they're just afraid to lose us. And if we are who we are, maybe then we don't align in relationship. So there are many fears, there are many needs, many desires that are behind why we'd ever live in an inauthentic way. And it's the saddest thing. I used to work, contracted a nursing home, it feels like lifetimes ago, and I would work with some of the individuals who were dying, and their families. Some of them were 100 years old, 105, into their 90s. And one of the saddest things was to be at the end, sit with someone as they are approaching that point of death, and what they feel is that they didn't live the life they were here and meant to live, and that they spent their life looking for approval or living according to somebody else's idea of who they should be. And the agony and pain that that person experiences at the end of their life is really difficult for them. And the people who died most easily were the people who felt that they lived for who they were, and they lived with an open heart and a loving heart, and then everything else really didn't matter when it came down to it. So I hope that answers your question about what the authentic self is, and I encourage you to really take a look at who you are and how you're living, where you're living, who you're living with, what you're doing for work, how you talk, what you express, what you say to people about what makes you happy, or what you agree to that maybe in your heart of hearts you know you don't agree with, as indicators of how authentic you actually are living. And we feel it. You know, we know, and if you say you don't know, I challenge you. We know in our heart of hearts when what we say is authentic, when the choices we make are authentic. When I work as a highest good coach, one of the things I do is I have people create a measuring stick. And on this measuring stick, There are the things we desire in life and the things that make us happy, the things we want. And every time we come to a choice point, a decision that needs to be made, a choice in life or a day-to-day choices, major life decisions, we take that decision and we layer over this tool that we've created. And if that decision moves us closer to these things we've identified as representing living in an authentic, happy, joyful, loving manner, then we do that because it's in alignment with what we know in our heart of hearts to be in our highest good. If what we are asked to do moves us away from this, then if at all possible, we don't do it because we're not living in authenticity. So more about living authentically in my book and what it means to live by the myth of who we imagine we are. My book is Life is the Ceremony, How We Live It is the Ritual, The Journey of a Feminine Shaman. You can go to my website, windhughes.com, windhughes.com, and contact me and ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer it for you. So I hope that answered your question, Jeremy. And I look forward to more questions from you, the viewers. And look for me on Twitter. You can, Wind Hughes. Look for me on Facebook. Life is the Ceremony is the page for my book. You can contact me through there as well. So I wish you joy on your journey and living in an authentic, beautiful life.